Well, look, it wasn't very upbeat if you look at the growth forecasts from the Office of Budget Responsibility, who have downgraded the economy's growth forecast in the coming years. That really shows the fact that this budget was just papering over the cracks of the last 13 years of economic failure. It wasn't offering the plan for growth that this country really needs. There are obviously some measures in it which are measures that we in the Labour Party have been calling for many months. And so, obviously, if there are elements of the budget that have Labour's fingerprints on them, then we welcome that. But I think if you take a step back, from the individual measures and look at the fact that we have had such low growth for the last 13 years in this country, how we have downgraded forecasts for growth going forward, and a desperate need for growth to raise people's wages, to generate revenue, to invest in public services, to create growth and productivity increases in different parts of the country. That plan for growth was what was sorely missing from the government's budget today. And that's what we're offering, our alternative, our plan for growth instead.
What about workforce? Because we need to talk a lot about workforce. And there were a number of measures in there in terms of encouraging people back to work, whether we're talking about pension reforms or even sanctions on benefits claimants. What's your workforce plan?
Well, we know in terms of getting people back into work that people need targeted support in local areas which is appropriate for their needs to get them back into the workforce. One of the big things that we know about long-term unemployed or people who are not looking for work at the moment is that long-term ill health is a major cause of that. And so what we said we would do is give more control locally to local authorities to have that tailored support to help people back into work. Now, that's the kind of thing that we need to help people back into work across the country. The government have set out the changes they're making to pension pots. Now, that is a £1 billion tax cut targeted at the richest 1% of earners. And I'm just not really sure that that's going to be a value for money, getting people back into work. What we really need is a plan to grow the economy across the country so that the jobs are there, and then a plan to make sure that people who, for instance, are long-term sick or unable to go back to work for other reasons have the support they need to take up those job opportunities.
But inflation is coming down, though, and we have heard the news today that we're not going to enter a technical recession. You must welcome that.
Well, I think the problem is that the economy is just bobbing along at the bottom, and the government expects praise for avoiding a technical recession when we've had 13 years of low growth, and the Office of Budget Responsibility has just downgraded the growth forecast for the future. So I think if you look at where we stand in terms of the last 13 years, and if you look at where we stand in comparison to other countries internationally, we're not in a good position. We've had very low growth for over a decade. We haven't got a positive outlook, and we're doing worse than other countries, and that's why we really need change.
OK. James Murray, Shadow Financial Secretary to the Treasury. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.